Good morning, Brandon Lang. Good morning.
What's happening, kids?
How about Syracuse, huh?
I'm going to tell you what. Tom Izzo, I give a lot of credit for being a hell of a basketball coach. But he made a mistake in that game that you'll see Coach K not make. And that is Miles Bridges is a beast. And he never puts Miles Bridges in the middle of that zone to let him dictate what you're going to do. Conversely, as well as Syracuse matched up with Michigan State, as poorly as they match up with Duke. Duke, I think, held them to 29% shooting in the first meeting when they beat them 60-44, 61-44, something like that. You can put Bagley in the middle, who can either A, hit that little jump shot, B, drive, C, dish, spot up shooters, as well as they matched up. Is this poor? Now, can they cover the 11.5? Potentially, yeah. But I Duke with all those shooters. And then also, Michigan has small guards. Duke's got big guards. So that's also a big difference against the length of that zone. And then the other thing that bothers me about Syracuse, the matchup per se, is zone teams hate to play against zone teams, and it kind of negates Battle getting in the middle and doing what he needs to do. So good run for Jim. I just think he runs into a buzzsaw with Duke.
I do want to go around the room, and everybody here is a Syracuse fan. So forget the 11. Is it 11 or 11.5 right now?
11.5.
11.5. That's a lot. But listen, we've seen Syracuse crumble, and it's certainly possible. But around the room, if you had to bet on it, if you're going to bet on it, if you had to bet on it, does Syracuse win or lose Friday night? Davey?
I think they're going to lose.
Andrew?
I think they're going to win.
Oh.
With 11.5 points?
No points. Win or lose?
I'm saying Duke.
I'm saying Duke as well. So our lone man out is Andrew saying...
I got to stay optimistic.
Still going to happen. Still going to happen, Brandon. But
That's what I love about Drew. The Packers could have their whole roster injured, and Aaron Hernandez playing with guys who worked at Best Buy, and he'd say, Packers.
That's right.
You'd have two guys on the Geek Squad split out. Jordy Nelson's back on the farm. He's got a guy that literally fixes Xerox machines on Saturday, and he's lining up at tight end.
Hey, some of those
would be like, my Packers are going to win on Sunday.
Isn't that what Tom Brady did before Belichick discovered him?
Might have. Yeah, he was a Xerox repairman.
Yeah.
I do have to say, when that happened Friday night, I immediately thought of Kathy and Rome, Brandon, and I almost, as happy as I was, I felt bad on Friday afternoon.
Well, I'll tell you what. Talking to Rob McQuaid, who's Matt McQuaid's dad, which I've said a number of times, Rob and I played high school basketball together. It was a very disappointing locker room. And, Matt's going to be a senior next year. How fast that's gone. But I text Rob the night before and said, how have they been against zones this year? He's watched every game, and he says, awful. And when he said awful, I got a real sick feeling in my stomach. And sure enough, the zone did him in. And another thing, Duke's not going to miss their last 16 shots like Michigan State did. That's just not going to happen.
By the way, Sunday afternoon was the game. All right, what do you think here as we go into the Sweet 16 beyond Syracuse? What are your thoughts? So Duke gets through.
Duke gets through, beats Kansas, goes to the Final Four. Villanova goes to the Final Four. Up top, I think I'm going to ride Loyola Chicago. I went down to my local maintenance place. I rented a wheelchair. It's set next to my couch. I'll be sitting in the chair watching that Loyola Chicago-Nevada game tonight. I will not get out of the wheelchair. Little Tito's and Club Soda Splash of Cran. And me and the sister are going to pull that game in. I don't know if they can get by Kentucky in the next round. Awful tall task, but you can't put them past it. It has the feeling of George Mason in 2006, the same run that George Mason had to get to the Final Four. Senior-laden team with the freshman center. They got the league player of the year, the freshman of the year. I can't discount what Loyola's done. I think Michigan is a really good matchup for Texas A&M. Michigan spreads them out, and the height, that will negate the height of Texas A&M, so like Michigan. Not going to touch Florida State and Gonzaga. I think Michigan goes to the Final Four, and last but not least, down below, at the end of the day, Kentucky, Michigan, Duke, Villanova. We're going to get Villanova and Michigan and national champions Villanova.
How about How about Virginia? I mean, that had to just destroy everybody's
17 million brackets at ESPN.
gone.
But I just want to say one thing real quick. I'll try to wrap this up in a minute or less. I've gone out on a limb in my 26-year career and said some crazy stuff. And I came across two things after that upset on Saturday morning, and I said to myself, had I known that, I would have just threw it out there. I'd have called up TMZ and went on there and made the call that UMBC is going to knock off Virginia. On my daughter's life, I would have said it if I had known two things, because I'm a very big believer in cosmic and karma and history, and something happened on the same day. I just am. And at the end of the day, the biggest upset in college basketball history was Virginia when they were number one. They lost to Chaminade with Ralph Sampson. That's the number one biggest upset in our lifetime, for that team to lose to Chaminade. The biggest upset in NCAA tournament history was 6 years to the day of that upset. Number 15 Norfolk State plus 21 beat number 2 Missouri 86-84. That's the biggest upset point spread-wise in NCAA tournament history. 6 years to the day, Virginia's laying 21 to UMBC. The same Virginia team that was ranked number one for the first time since when? Ralph Sampson and Chaminade. Those two things, I'd have been like, you know what? It's going to happen. And just to have thrown it out there, who cares if it doesn't win?
Right.
But the chance you throw it out there and it hits, and I said, I don't know if I said on your show, I said this just has the feeling that this is the year a 16 takes down a 1, and I focused Penn State and Kansas.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry, Penn and Kansas. Penn went 3 of 12 from the free throw line. Can't do that.
Yeah.
Got to make it a close game and make plays. And you know what? It was UMBC. And had I known those two things in my daughter's life, I would have threw it out there. I would have called TMZ. I would have said it. And that's what I'm angry about, because being an underdog and being a handicapper and isolating underdogs, this week alone, Sunday Clemson getting 1.5, wins by 31. Monday, North Texas getting 1.5. They win by 29. To have a 21-point dog win by 20, a 41-point swing, I'm not supposed to miss that.
Yeah. That was crazy.
There you go.
All right, Brandon, interesting take on it. And the cosmos, the cosmic energy, all of it. Never thought that would play a role for you.
Well, think about this.
Yeah.
30 seconds or less. I caddied at Riviera Country Club. I made the movie happen at Riviera Country Club. It's the heart and soul of walking that grass and being out there that 3 years later I caddied for Ted Treba at the Nissan Open at Riviera Country Club. I caddied the course record 61, which still stands to this day at Riviera Country Club. Nobody's broke that with a Riviera caddy on his bag. I hold that title. Now, you tell me, is there something cosmic about that?
I think there's something cosmic. I think there is. All right, Brandon. It's BrandonLang.com. That's where you go before you go, if you know what I mean. Thank you, Brandon. You have a great one. We'll talk to you again next week.
Got it, guys. Thank you.
Right. He, of course, was the inspiration for the movie with Matthew McConaughey.
2 for the Money.
Called Two for the Money. So.
Was he saying that he was the reason for the course record, or the golfer?
Yes. No, it was Brandon.
Okay, that's what I
thought. I caddied a 61. I've never heard that.
That's awesome.